welcome once again to As the Reel Turns, your place for all things movie and television. And we have got another fantastic show for you today. If you realize, this is the summer, and there's a lot of movies that come out in the summertime. But one movie in particular has been saying that it is the summer of this. And if you remember, this was also our very first episode. So we're going to take another look back, a little bit more of a deeper dive into the ever-popular superhero, Superman. Yes, we are going to talk about everything Superman throughout the summer, and we're going to go through every live-action actor. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be asking, what about the animated stuff? Well, we'll touch upon them, don't worry. And I've got some wonderful people to talk about Superman with. We got my good friend Joe and my good friend Timothy.
Yayo.
Gentlemen, welcome back to the show.
Absolutely.
It's
good
been
to
a
be
while.
here.
It's been a while. Last time we were together, we did Star Trek, I think.
I think so.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Sounds right, yeah.
So great to have you back. We're going to be talking about everything Superman. Big movie this year, so I thought, why not touch upon some Superman stuff that we didn't touch upon the last time. First thing I want to talk about, there have been Superman, obviously a comic book superhero. He made his debut in Action Comics, then he got his own comic book throughout the years, created by Siegel and Schuster, these two friends that wrote down a superhero that would leap tall buildings in a single bound. And as the years went on, Superman would become more popular. He'd get a radio show, and one of the first times people got to see Superman in action was through a series of cartoons done by Max Fleischer, who was the guy who did the Betty Boop cartoons, Popeye, and the Superman was voiced by a gentleman named Bud Collyer, who also did the radio show, and there were about, 14 or 15 of these produced. They're really fun. They're short. Every so often they dipped into some, Superman fighting off the Japanese and the Nazis and stuff like that. The only strange part is that the shield has a black background. It has the red S, but a black background. I don't want to we want to get into the live action actors here. So, any quick thoughts on these Fleischer cartoons?
Go Joe.
Joe. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I did do a little bit of research, knowing that you had asked us on here, and I had seen some back in the day.
Yeah.
So I went and looked them up online. Yep, you can get the whole thing.
Yep.
Everything's online these days. One thing, just real quick, I think these days people don't really or don't recall how fast and hard Superman hit. No pun intended. He hit comics summer of 1939.
Yep.
He had a radio show, I think, within a year, 2 years, something like that. And the Fleischman cartoons came on within 2 or 3 years as the little shorts, you go to the movie, they'd be before the feature.
Yeah, like 1941-ish, something like that.
Yeah, so it's real quick. I mean, he took the world by storm.
Oh, yeah.
So the Black Shield, that's basically what he was. When he first came out in the comics, he had the shield there. The big things that the radio show and then later the Fleischman cartoons added to the legend, if you will, was this is a job for Superman.
Yes, yeah.
That came in on the radio show because there was no picture. People couldn't see what was going on, so the voice performer had to somehow indicate that Clark Kent was going away and Superman was coming back. And
Right.
that also added the legend that they sound different, you know. So
Yeah.
he would actually go, and I can't do his range and never actually heard the radio show, but he would do something along the lines of, you know.
Like, this is a job
yeah.
for Superman.
Yeah, so it's like, Lois is in trouble. This is a job for Superman. You know, something like that.
Yeah.
Along those lines.
And I remember I got, I think, a DVD of a collection of these Fleischer cartoons, and I watched them, and I loved them, and yeah, no, they're all online
Yep.
right now. So, I mean, if you want to check them out,
Yeah.
check them out. They're fun.
The other major thing Fleischer did was that's when Superman learned to fly.
Yes. He
Before
always
that,
leaped.
he never flew. He leaped. But as they were doing the animation, and they had never done human animation before, they'd always done funny animals. So they looked at, you know, the leaping and said, that looks silly. And called up DC Comics and said, do you mind if we just let him fly? And DC's kind of like, that is a brilliant idea. Why didn't we think of that?
That's a super idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as for the cartoons themselves, I think the art especially stands up against modern anime
It
art.
does. It really does.
The art is brilliant. The storytelling is still very good. Very simple themes because they have to get this whole story done in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
10 to 15 minutes. So there's very little dialogue, but good music, good action, good animation. Yeah, like you said, there weren't terribly many, but yeah, I think it stands up against modern animation.
I think so too, and that really just adds into what Superman was, like you were saying, hitting hard. As the years would go on, there'd be more comics. There would be, you know, reruns of sorts of these cartoons and the radio show, but we never got a real live-action Superman until 1948. 1948 rolls around, and a big thing, like you said in the movies, you see a thing before your movie, a serial, like these chapters of things, sort of like TV episodes. And we got our first serial in the form of simply called Superman, featuring Kirk Alyn. So we're going to see, here's the intro of Kirk Alyn's Superman. Now, Kirk Alyn was known for Westerns at the time, and they said, hey, Kirk, you want to wear these tights and play Superman? And he said, okay. These, like a lot of superhero stuff at the time, were a lot of propaganda stuff. There was a lot of, we're coming off, World War II is over by now, but it's still fresh in people's minds, and that was a lot in this serial series. A lot of against the Japanese still, and gangsters. A lot of gangster stuff. Not really major classic comic book villain things. Kirk Alyn himself, though, was a very good Superman. I thought. He played the role really well. He was a good Clark Kent. He was a good Superman. And the only difference is that when he flew, it wasn't technically him. It was animation, except for some mild close-ups where here, if you want to cut back to us, he was basically flying just like this. I'm standing, and I'm flying.
Faster than a lightning bolt, more powerful than the greatest locomotive. Superman, man of tomorrow.
But just from what we saw there, we got a brief glimpse at Kirk Alyn there, and we saw what the intro looked like. Joe, what are your thoughts on Kirk Alyn and then the 1948 Superman?
I didn't really see a lot of Kirk Alyn, and the problem is I came into Superman under the George Reeves show, because that's when I started watching it big time. Because
everybody, a lot of people do,
and that's just it. George Reeves was it. I've seen a few of the Kirk Alyn, but again, I'm comparing to, and I'm dating myself a little bit here, but when I started in with Superman, I was like 6, 7, 8 years old, and George Reeves was Superman, period. That was it. That's all there was to it. I mean, so I can't really say much about Kirk Alyn because I haven't seen enough of it to really comment. I mean, because again, like I said, George Reeves at that age for me was Superman. He was Clark Kent. He was the whole 9 yards.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and the way they did that particular show, let's face it. I mean, it was super cool when you're 6, 7, 8, or 9. You know, it's like, hey, you know. And again, yes, exactly, because he, like you said, he wasn't standing up. They actually had him down like this, and he
And
was.
we'll talk about
He was
that,
actually
yeah.
flying, and the fans were blowing the cape, and he actually looked like he was really doing that, at least to a kid that age.
Sure.
You know.
Timothy, to Joe's point, I mean, not a lot. You said you didn't really know a lot about Kirk Alyn. Kirk Alyn always seems to be like a forgotten Superman.
Yeah, totally forgotten. And if you noticed on the credits there, he did not get credit.
That's true. He didn't get any credit, any billing.
And Joe, if you've seen a few episodes when you were younger, until about 3 days ago, you'd seen more of Kirk Alyn than I had.
Yeah.
Again, I went and looked them up, watched them to prep for the show, and did a little bit of background research. And apparently, the studio, as a publicity stunt, at the time advertised, we actually got Superman. So, unfortunately, Kirk got no credit for it. But but his performance, I think he did a very good Clark Kent. There's very little. There's very comparatively little Superman in these serials.
There is.
Yeah. And he doesn't speak a lot as Superman, so there's not a whole lot of contrast in performance. But then again, at the time, I don't think that's what people were looking for.
What do you think about the this is to both of you. What do you think about the animated flying? I mean, do you think they were just they couldn't get Kirk to do some kind of realistic flying sequence, or they said it's a serial, they won't care?
My guess, and this is just a guess, is that they couldn't figure out how to simulate flight.
Yeah.
So they went with whatever they could come up with. I mean,
It just
because
seems cheap, though. I mean, like you see him take off and animate.
Well, the technology of the time,
That's
probably.
true, yeah.
I mean, they don't have what we have today, where it actually looks like, hey, this is real stuff. I mean, let's look at the Marvel stuff. I mean, we think Thor is actually bringing lightning down and all that neat stuff, whereas back then, they're just like, how are we going to make this work?
Exactly.
Yeah, and we are so spoiled by special effects.
Oh, big time.
And you're right. Again, this is not from my own knowledge. I did some research. The producer, I think it was, of the movies hated how the look of a man dangling from a wire. They, like you say, they couldn't make the wire disappear the way they can today.
Sure.
Right.
Said it looks awful. So they went with the rotoscoping.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Yeah. Today we call that body. You have a body actor, and they put the CGI over top.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's basically the same
Polar
thing.
Express type of stuff.
Yeah. But
motion capture.
Motion capture. Thank you.
capture.
But one interesting thing is, while the takeoffs were great, they couldn't. They found it didn't look as good going the other way, going from animation to live action when he landed.
Yeah.
So Kirk has a habit in both of the serials to land behind something.
Yep.
And then he has to run over to where he's actually needed.
You want me to wait for you?
No, you stick right on their tail. Don't let them out of your sight.
Okay.
you manage to get here?
Well, somebody had to manage.
I mean, it's like to Joe's point, it's what they had at the time, I guess.
And it actually works pretty well.
It works.
Yeah.
I will also say that it's funny that Lois Lane is played by Noelle Neal, who will reappear in George Reeves' television show later on. And there is like a main-ish villain in this, like the Spider Lady or something, something like that.
A good job well done, gentlemen. Thank you. The kryptonite will be the means of acquiring the secret of the relativity reducer.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, that sounds comic booky enough.
Yeah.
But it's really the second one is where they got going with some comic book villains, because they had a second serial series called Atom Man versus Superman, and this one basically has this disco ball-esque villain named Atom Man, but it's actually Luthor.
Yep, Lex Luthor.
Not Lex. They didn't say Lex.
Well, they didn't say Lex.
They didn't say. They just said Luthor.
Yeah.
But Kirk Alyn returned for that one as well, and I mean, I think people should give him a shot because, like I said, he is forgotten, but I think he's the one who really kicked everything off in live action world. And to say that, oh, hey, George is the one who's starting, no, it's there's a guy before him.
And there again, serials in today's mindset kind of get a bad rap. The whole, cliffhanger, return next week. The one of Kirk's first that I saw had been very expertly put together into a single 3-hour movie, and that looked really good.
Okay.
Except for 1 or 2 points where it was hitting you over the head, you couldn't tell where the cliffhanger was.
Through my greatest invention. The world does not know of it yet, but it will, and I will be the most powerful man in it. Follow me. The main arc can send you to any place I choose.
How'd you get away from those 2 men? I hate to tell you, you'll never believe me.
Jimmy, sometimes I'd like to...
All right, I'll tell you, but don't say I didn't warn you.
Look, it's Superman. He's saving people from the ship.
Take care of them. I'll go after the others.
Thanks, Superman.
Oh, it's nothing at all. Now I'll fly you back to your office.
What about these men?
I'll send the police after them. Ready?
Always.
Don't fail to see A Blaze in the Sky, the 3rd thrill-packed chapter of Atom Man versus Superman at this theater next week.
That's not bad. Okay, that's fair. I mean, I know the whole. Both serials are on DVD, so you can check those out for sure. I'm sure, they're online somewhere as well. And give Kirk Alyn a shot. He's worth it. He's definitely worth it. So yes, years go on, and they tap another actor to play Superman, and this guy, I swear, it's like the only thing I know him else from. He played a side character in Gone with the Wind. And they tapped in to play Superman, not for a television series first. It was he first made his appearance in a film, in a really B-rated mystery science theater kind of worthy film called Superman and the Mole Men.
Oh, yes.
That would get moved on to a series called Adventures of Superman, starring George Reeves. And I think we have the intro here for George Reeves. Here it is, and we have the color intro, so we don't have to look at the black and white. But this,
come on.
I know,
I mean, really, I mean, come on, that's where I started
I'm sorry,
here. Yeah.
I'm sorry. But yeah, this show was massive. And there's George, there he is, looking like he's pretty much flying, pretty good.
Yep.
This was a 1950 show lasting, I believe, from 1952 or 1 to 1956, 6 seasons, and starring George Reeves as Clark Kent Superman, along with his movie Lois Lane.
Oh, there's Clark Kent.
There's
Yeah,
Clark Kent.
there he is.
Sorry, yes. Starring his movie Lois Lane, Phyllis Coates for I think the first 2 seasons, bringing back then Noel Neal for the last of the series. Jack Larson, Jimmy Olsen, who played it really, really well. I love him. And there's some bits of. We have a caveman episode here. That's kind of fun.
That's the one you pick.
That's the one that came with the intro. In fact,
Okay.
let's not even see the caveman thing. Let's cut back to us. We don't need to see that. Anyway.
Oh, come on.
I know. I'll roll some better clips. Don't worry. George Reeves, though, playing the role of Superman really well. He did it very, very well. It's pretty obvious he's wearing a muscle suit. But here's my question. You look at even Kirk Alyn. You could even rope him into this a little bit. But you look at other Superman actors down the line. The character and the actor always had to be Mr. Handsome, good-looking, jet black hair, wow, you look good in those tights, oh, Superman, oh, type of person. And you look at George Reeves, and you say to yourself, wait a minute. I know it's a muscle suit, but the muscle suit looks a little too big. And I'm sorry, does Superman have a little bit of streaks of gray? So, I love George, I do, and we'll get to his end a little further on. But would you, if you were a casting director, especially in this day and age, would you say if George Reeves walked into the casting room and said, "I want to play Superman," would you laugh in his face or would you give him a chance?
Well.
See, it's a question.
But here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing, and I'm gonna
tell us about George
digress a little bit.
Okay.
By today's standards,
Yep.
we've already decided what Superman should look like.
Sure.
Okay? By their standards back then, and I'm going to jump back to then,
Okay.
because by their standards then, Superman was a kid's show.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So George Reeves fit fine because as a kid, again, at the age I was at when George Reeves and his Superman rolled around,
Yep.
I wasn't looking at the hair. I wasn't looking at the bodysuits. I wasn't looking at anything else because, man, this was Superman, the Man of Steel. He was the coolest. That was it. That's all there was to it, especially when he's flying through the air or dropping himself in amongst a bunch of cavemen.
Yep, the cavemen.
Okay. But the thing is, here's the thing. By today's...
All the episodes.
Yeah, I know, right?
It just came with the clip.
Yeah, I know, right? So you should have known I wasn't going to let that go. Yeah. You, of all people, should know I wasn't going to let that
I feel like the cavemen are going to become a running joke. I'm making note of that.
Yeah. So, but here's the thing. By today's standards, he wouldn't cut it.
Right.
Okay?
See, yeah, that's
because
what I'm saying.
we've had, like, the Dean Cains, the Tom Wellings, and...
Christopher Reeves.
Christopher Reeves. So we've had all those. So George Reeves wouldn't cut it today. And chances are good. I mean, it's not likely we'd cut him a break because we've already have it in our head how it's supposed to look.
Right.
I mean, and that's all there is to it.
Right.
So I wouldn't say I'd laugh in the guy's face, but it wouldn't happen. I mean, if I was casting director, I'd be like, thanks for coming in, and... We'll go the resume, and that would be it.
We'll let you know about Pa Kent, is what we'll tell you.
Yeah, our people will call your people, and we'll move on from there. Yeah.
But Timothy, I mean, this was a massive show.
Yeah.
Joe, like you said, it was a kids show that eventually got sponsoring from a big thing, cereal, spelt with a C this time, and an A, and an E, and an R, and an A-L. Kellogg's. Kellogg's was their sponsor, and...
Hey, let's take a minute and meet Clark Kent, the star of Superman.
Gee, Mr. Kent, what a breakfast Kellogg's Sugar Smacks make, huh?
That's right, Jimmy. That's why I never let business interfere with this meal. Now, who could that be at this hour of the morning?
Well, good, you're both here. Now, we have an important assignment, and
Chief, can't it wait till after breakfast?
News can't wait, Kent. You know that. Now then.
Not even for new Sugar Smacks, Chief?
Now, I say we have this important... Why, yes. Don't mind if I do.
You know, Chief, I have a hunch that your important assignment was having some Sugar Smacks right here.
Didn't I say that news can't wait?
That's right. And folks, get these better than ever puffs of wheat. They're sugar toasted and candy sweet. They're Kellogg's new Sugar Smacks. You like them?
You bet. Just guess. Kellogg's Sugar Smacks, brand new.
Sponsor, and over the years, they would, in their third season, get transferred into color. So George didn't have to wear like a tainted colored suit.
Yep.
He actually got blue and red.
Kirk Alyn was not wearing the traditional costume there. His was red and brown because it photographed better in black and white.
Sure, yeah. My other question was, I guess it's a nitpick here, Lois dyed her hair red when Noel Neal came along, but okay, sure, why not? Speaking of redheads, George Reeves was so popular that he would even play Superman on I Love Lucy.
Look, Superman!
Happy birthday, little Ricky. Which one of you is Ricky? Happy birthday. Any of you fellas want to wrestle?
Well, Superman, that was a wonderful thing you did.
Oh, Ricky, it was my pleasure. I'm only sorry I didn't get to meet Lucy. I've heard so much about her.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Where is Lucy?
Oh, she'll be here in a minute. She's out on the ledge.
On the ledge? Come on! Out here? What's she doing over there? Lucy!
How do you do? My name is Superman.
Oh, boy, am I glad to see you. Tell me, when you're flying around, do you have tape trouble?
No, but then I've had a lot more flying time than you have.
Oh.
You think of all the crazy things that you've done in the 15 years that we've been married.
You mean to say that you've been married to her for 15 years?
Yeah, 15 years.
And they call me Superman.
The big joke of that was like, is he playing George Reeves or is he playing Superman? You decide.
And by the time he did that, Desilu Studios that Lucille Ball owned had bought the rights to Superman and was producing Superman by that
Were
time.
they?
Yes.
I did not know that. But Timothy, what are your thoughts on George Reeves and Adventures of Superman? And to make it clear, this is George Reeves.
With an S.
With an S, no relation to Christopher Reeve.
With a no S.
No S.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, though?
Kind of to key off what Bob was saying. Yeah. Today, we all think we know what Superman is. And I know Superman, except for the next one, far better from the comics. And in the late 30s, early 40s, in the comics, he wasn't Superman. He was Superman. He was the ideal epitome, the perfect man.
Yeah.
That's why he only leapt tall buildings in a single bound. That's why he was only as fast as an express locomotive.
Yep.
Which, again, bit of research. Train at the time, top speed about 130 miles an hour. Yeah, so pretty fast, but not the Superman we think we know. And George Reeves looked like the Superman in the comics at the time. The square jaw, again, the muscle suit, but the firm shoulders and everything. He was portraying the ideal of an American man at the time. and he does it very well.
And this is where Truth, Justice, and the American Way came into play. I think.
Yeah. And again, at least from what I saw and recall, very little difference in performance between Clark Kent and Superman. I honestly think this is where people start questioning, how can people not realize, oh, I'm Superman. It's like, who am I now? Because really, for George Reeves, those glasses and the Superman outfit, that was it.
Yeah.
That's all that changed.
And what are you doing in that outfit?
Oh, hello, Lois. This is Dr. Reed. Miss Lane? How do you do, Miss Lane?
Do you know what happened? They shot one of those little monsters.
Dr. Reed just removed the bullet from his chest. He's in there.
In there?
Mm-hmm. Superman brought it to the hospital.
Well, then you know about Superman.
If I don't, who should?
How did you leave here later than we did and beat us to the airport?
Is that all?
Not quite. How come you found the man behind the hangar at just the right moment to get his exclusive story when every top experienced reporter in the business was breaking his neck...
Or her neck.
Or her neck to get that story?
Maybe I'm a Superman, Miss Lane. Well, it worked.
Oh, it did, eh? And I suppose if Superman isn't radioactive anymore, you aren't either.
Me? Radioactive? I should say not. See? This is a Geiger counter. If I were radioactive, this gadget would be clicking away like mad.
And what are you doing with the Geiger counter?
Oh, well, Superman asked me to check this plane for any traces of contamination. Obviously, it's perfectly all right. See? No clicks.
You're just trying to confuse me. But Superman and you, I still wonder.
Wonder? Well, it's no wonder you wonder. You're a pretty wonderful girl.
I don't really believe in the things.
Say, I'll bet if Superman were here, he'd rub this horseshoe and make a magnet out of it and help us get out of here.
Superman would knock a hole through the wall, silly. Come on, we'll find a way out.
The trouble is, too many people might see him knocking that hole. Well, I wish I could have been there. It sounds like it must have been pretty exciting.
Golly, look at the swell souvenir I got. The hatchet great horse used to chop the tree down.
I got one, too. A necklace from the claws of the bear.
Inspector, I think you'll find a lot of missing people in the basement of that house.
Where's Clark?
Yes, where is he?
Where he usually is. Excuse me.
Well, we surely owe our lives to Superman. All of us.
We certainly do, don't we, Clark?
Well, all I can say is if it weren't for Superman, I wouldn't be here.
Well, and kids loved him too. They did.
Yes.
They could see right through it.
Very nice guy.
He was.
Understood fandom. When he was in public, he made sure he didn't do anything that would embarrass the Superman brand.
Right.
Was a whole other matter.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
But as a general performance, yes, not only George Reeves, but the whole cast actually put on very good performances.
Oh yeah.
Again, like you said, he really doesn't fight super villains.
A lot of gangsters, a lot of mobsters.
That's what people could relate to at the time.
Yep.
And he, again, like with Kirk Alyn, he did most of it as Clark Kent. Very little as Superman.
The big question, of course, always though, you mentioned, how can people not see through those glasses? Of course, that's a common thread. But the eternal question is, are there lenses in those glasses or not? They looked pretty thin to me. On his, yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, like, there's a VHS here of George Reeves, and I guess it is a product of the times, like the two of you were saying, because he really, what we imagine now, he wouldn't go for it.
And if
and there's
camera can see the front of that again.
Yeah, the front. Yeah.
Even with like what you're calling the muscle suit,
yep.
He really doesn't look terribly muscular.
He doesn't look too bad. No, I mean it's.
He looks like a healthy man.
Yeah.
He certainly doesn't look like Schwarzenegger.
Or
Chris.
No, not even Chris. Yeah. But I will say that Joe, you mentioned the flying. The flying was a big thing. George started out on wires and then said nope. I remember Jack Larson said, like, he was with George one time. He said, Peter Pan flies on wires, Superman doesn't fly on wires. And so they created this cradle thing that George would lie on, and they'd lift him up, lift him down, tilt him this way, and for 1950 something, it looked great. And even by this standards, I still love it. I say to people all the time, you want to make a Superman movie with no budget? That's how you do it. That's so simple.
I don't know.
It was a steel pan, and that gave George the ability to fly. And George would hold out his arms as Superman, hold out his legs, and could fly, move to the side, dip down, do everything.
The invention of the pan, as they call it, that Cy Simonson came up was ingenious because it allowed George to be filmed from a long distance, and it appears as if they were flying and banking and rolling back and forth. And it was merely a pan underneath his costume that went to a large pole between his legs, which could be manipulated by 2 or 3 men on the other side.
And his, again, low budget. His takeoffs, starting I think with second season.
Yeah.
They just had, he was very athletic.
Yes, he was.
They just had him hit a springboard, and sometimes he would actually spring right over the camera.
Yeah.
And for the landings, he would just jump off a ladder or off a parallel bar and come into frame.
He can't do this to me.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. Would you, McGurk? I'm not afraid of any fire here. We're practically out of business in the Surrey River.
And it was brilliant. And I always say, like, again, like people want to make a Superman fan film, study George Reeves flying because that's the way to do it, and his takeoff and landings.
One quick bit of trivia, or I'm going to forget.
Yes.
Both Kirk Alyn and George Reeves, there's a lot of episodes where whatever's going on could be solved very quickly and easily if he only used his heat vision.
Yeah.
There was a reason why he never used his heat vision.
Why is that?
Superman didn't have heat vision until 1961.
Oh, well, there you go. I didn't know that, actually. Yeah. But no, it's there were a lot of great moments in this. They did a lot of silly stuff, like they did time travel to cavemen times. They go to a cowboy village. Superman freezes himself. Lois has a dream where they get married. So many other things, and I personally lean more towards Noel Neill than Phyllis Coates. That's just a me thing, but both did a very good job. I will say though, there's a great documentary out there called Look Up in the Sky, The Amazing Story of Superman. It was mainly done as a promotional thing for Superman Returns at the time. Mm-hmm. But they go through everything, and they were saying, I think it was Noel Neill, she was saying, we were getting ready to do a 7th season, George wanted to direct some episodes, I'm getting sick of running around in my underwear, and by the way, his cape, it always seemed to droop, a droop on his back. And then one day, everything stopped, because the papers read out saying, TV Superman kills self. And it was a big thing. The death of George Reeves. To this day, I think it's still one of Hollywood's most unsolved deaths. The big question is, did he kill himself? Was he killed? Now, it's up to you to decide what you think really happened. And a lot of things always seem to point towards suicide, but who knows really? I mean, any quick thoughts on that? And this was tragic for adults and for kids.
Because, Joe, you probably lived through that more than I did, so if you want to grab that.
When it comes to Hollyweird, and I mean that, okay, anything where they bring this kind of a thing into play. Yep. George Reeves, Bob Crane. They love to throw that all out there.
Yeah.
Hey, what really happened? Somebody knows.
Somebody knows.
Hollywood loves their hype. And they love the controversy. They love the drama. They love the whole thing. So really, it's anybody's guess. So as to what actually happened, it's interesting how when they bring this out, you don't really get the facts.
Yeah.
Nobody ever says, hey, here's what was found. You figure it out from there. Ever. I have never seen that. I don't know if either one of you two have. I have never for once seen, hey, this is what we found out. What's next?
I honestly think it was like on an Unsolved Mysteries even at one point.
Of course.
And there was a film made called Hollywoodland about the career of George Reeves and the death of George Reeves, and I don't even think that solved the question. But
never does.
I always laugh at that movie though because it stars Ben Affleck as George Reeves, doing a great George Reeves impression, I think. And so what you're telling me here is that Ben Affleck is technically playing Superman. Years later, he then played Batman. So he's played both Superman and Batman. Okay, never mind. Anyway.
There is a comics character called the Composite Superman. He's the two of them.
That's true.
Didn't Ben Affleck do Daredevil?
He did Daredevil too, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to call Ben Affleck for my next superhero movie. Hold on.
And we thought Nicolas Cage was obsessed. No, wait, that's for a future film.
That's a future film. But still, people were devastated. Kids were, oh no, Superman's bullets bounce off of him all the time. In fact, I think that's even a story. A kid pointed a gun at Reeves and no. At least it's in the movie anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's always going to be a question, but the plus side of it is that we'll always have this show. And George did a fantastic job. The show is loads of fun. I don't think it ever got like a finale because, yeah.
In my mind, that's where I leave it.
That's fair.
I mean,
Again, how popular was this show? George Reeves is dead. And there was discussion about how are we going to keep the show going. They were talking about spinning off Lois and Jimmy into their own shows just to keep it going.
Huh. And you can't. It's not like with Lois. You can't recast the lead,
right?
Especially this lead. So, yeah, no. The bright side, though, if you want to check out George Reeves, go check out George Reeves. Adventures of Superman. Maybe not Superman versus the Mole Men, but
do the Mole Men.
Do the Mole Men, sure.
We'll leave you with this as incentive to go see with Superman versus or Superman
and the Mole Men and the Mole Men.
Consider Nosferatu as a love child with a munchkin.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I like it. I like it. Cut me a break. If there's one thing that George Reeves really, really loved, and you can tell in Adventures of Superman, is that he loved bursting through walls. Jack Larson always said that too, and especially in that Look Up in the Sky documentary. George loved those walls. Anyway, that's just me. But that's where we're going to put a pin in this right now. There is so much more Superman to come, and I hope you guys come back. I want to thank you so much for having you come on, talk about Superman. And go watch Kirk, go watch George, go watch most of Christopher. And we'll talk about Christopher's fate in the next episode. But until then, I want to quickly do a Who Are You? So I'm going to play a clip for you, gentlemen, and there's our intro. Lovely, lovely. Thank you, thank you. Hey, don't worry about it, Magic Tech Team. We love you still. I'm going to roll a clip for you guys, and you're going to have to tell me.
You don't believe me when I say I love you.
Well, it's because now. Yeah, well, never mind. Anyway.
I tease him.
I know.
Anyway, keep going.
I'm going to run a clip for you, and you're going to have to tell me who it is and or what it's from. So I'm going to roll the clip here.
Hi, boys. How are you? Yeah, I was just roping over there. Thought I'd mosey on over. I'd never moseyed before. Hope I did it correctly. I mean, I've walked, I've ambled. I even sashayed once, but that was in front of the draft board. Hello. Ooh, rough corral.
Anyway,
there we go.
On that note, I do want to thank you guys again for coming on the show. It's so cool to talk about Superman in this, quote, summer of Superman because of the new movie. So we'll be back to talk about further actors and further interpretations. I want to thank our Magic and Tech team over there who's been awesome. And I am Daniel Soletti. This has been As the Reel Turns. That is a wrap. Wow.